So, okay.
It's about time.
My husband speaks a little bit of German, so that's why you can understand.
Bobbie, I'm going to ask you questions.
Go.
I feel like this is like right here.
Yeah, that was way better than me. Okay.
Bobbie, you've been listening for 5 weeks. What has surprised you?
I think the number of people that show up has surprised me. Honestly, I thought it was going to be the poets and their friends, and that was it.
Is it a little intimidating being up here and then seeing like hundreds of eyes looking at you?
It was the first week, but now it's just really exciting because I don't know. When I was a kid, I was that annoying kid, and I'd always be like, "Mom, you want to hear what I just wrote? I'll read it to you." And she's like, "I can read it myself." And I was like, "No, I want to read it to you." And so having people that are sitting there listening is really fun.
Yeah. And Bobbie, what for you has been the most challenging part of this competition so far?
Probably the prompts and staying true to myself as a writer while still exploring the prompts.
Excellent. Your turn.
Okay.
That was yours.
First of all, I just want you all to know that I'm the girl that squeaked last week when this prompt was announced because I am so excited. Shel Silverstein is the entire reason that I started writing poetry, and he is still a huge part of my life. I'm going into education, I want to be a mom. I think Shel Silverstein is the bomb. Yes, that was a rhyme. It was unintentional. I am wearing all black today. You'll kind of find out why in my poem. Rather than just writing a poem in the style of Shel Silverstein, because he really did have such an influence on my life, I decided to write a tribute poem to Shel Silverstein. And so that's what this is. Included in it, though, are a few of my first attempts at poetry, which happened in the 4th grade shortly after reading his books. So bear in mind that parts of this were written by the 4th grade me. It's called It All Began with Silverstein. There's an undercurrent of emotion welled up in the commotion of my poetry, always trying to get through to you, pressing you and urging you and body slamming you against feelings and ideas you love or hate to feel. But it all began with Silverstein. I was in the 4th grade, the year of sunflower hand-me-down dresses, in a class full of richer, prettier, thinner, cooler kids than I could ever hope to be. I was on the outside looking in, standing where the sidewalk ends, looking into that crevice and wondering what would happen if I jumped in. We were reading The Bridge to Terabithia, and I was a fast reader, so I was the first one to cry. And the boy next to me startled from his pages, confused by the tears on my face, and afraid to keep on reading for fear of showing his heart. So he stopped. But I was done, and I had time to kill, so I opened my desk and pulled out a simple-looking book, white background covered in black lines. It was a light in the attic calling me home, showing me that all things were possible, opening up worlds where words were more than just meaning, they were feeling. They were the tears on my classmates' faces as they finished their own books. They were 3rd graders' laughter through the window on the playground. I was falling up into a new world, and it was the world where I belonged. Millie McDevitt screamed a scream, and it woke me up, and I realized that life has its own kind of music, and if I was anything but careful, I could sing it. So I took my pen in hand, ready to make my own black marks on my own white page, and I tried to sing the language I'd heard. My first attempt. The fisher, the fisher's a wisher. He wishes for lots of fish to eat. My second attempt. I'd rather have a brother than an onion in my eye. I'd rather have a brother than eat tomato pie. I'd rather have a brother because I love my little brother when he's asleep. My third attempt. One time when I was little, I had a babysitter. She looked like a critter crawling through the door, with a nose where her eyes should be, and eyes for a nose, with short stubby fingers and long crooked toes. But now that I am big, she looks a little like a pig, and she's not my babysitter anymore. Seriously? Was that the best I could do? But that light in the attic had already been lit, and even if the fire wasn't burning brightly, it was simmering. I was just waiting for the giving tree, or a giraffe and a half, or the missing piece to come along and inspire me. I may not have been a boy named Sue, but I was a girl named Bobbie, and in the 4th grade, that was just as bad. And so I opened my heart and let Uncle Shelby in, and I read his poems again and again, and I learned that rhyming and timing were what make a poem good, but that humor certainly helped it sell. And I still remember being in the 5th grade and wearing all black for my school pictures because I wanted to look like a poet, and how I held a blank book in my hand as a metaphor for the future I was beginning. But the black was more fitting on a sad day in May when I heard that Uncle Shelby was gone. I remember the light in my attic went off, and once again I was there where the sidewalk ends, and I was questioning how I could be a poet if the only poet I knew did not exist anymore. And in the 5th grade, that question seemed unanswerable. His own words at the end of a book called to me with the faintest whisper of hope. The end of the book, no need to look for any more, my dear. For if you try finding some more in the binding, you may just disappear. I didn't want to disappear, but I didn't want the book to be over either, and so I started writing my own, building and growing and pushing the edges of what I had learned from the black and white pages of Uncle Shelby's hand. And I wrote to continue the book, to let others at the end of the sidewalk see the light in the attic and know that there's always some way of falling up. There's an undercurrent of emotion welled up in the commotion of my poetry, always trying to get through to you, pressing you and urging you and body slamming you against feelings and ideas you love or hate to feel. But it all began with Silverstein.